Hi everyone, it's Wake Angel 2001 getting in some in front of the camera time. Cause I wanted to say my 2 cents about the official Sonic the Hedgehog visual novel that just got released out of nowhere. Okay, so I don't have a Steam account, so that means I couldn't play the game myself, but I did watch SNT live stream it today. SNT. Yeah. So, yeah, she started streaming it at noon, which just so happened to coincide with my lunch break at work, so I watched the first 45 minutes of it with her, but then I had to go back to work, and I finished watching it when I got home. So, I got to experience the full story and everything, because, she played through the whole thing. And I gotta say, it was actually really nice. Like, it was a great visual novel. Like, the art assets for it were great. It had a nice storyline, and it treated the characters all really well. For something that they released for free on April Fool's Day, well, okay, they released it March 31st, the day before April Fool's Day. I think they did this just to make sure that people wouldn't write the game off completely as an April Fool's prank and then not even bother to download it. Like, I was afraid if people saw on April 1st this new Sonic the Hedgehog visual novel being released for free, some people might have thought that it could have been like a virus or something. Like the April Fool's Sonic virus. No, they made sure that people would actually download and play the game by releasing it the day before April Fool's. But we know what the spirit of this was. So, yeah, before I say anything, I just wanted to point out that it's a very nice game. It has a great story, and you should experience it in some way. If you're not going to download it yourself, then at least watch a Let's Play of it on YouTube or something. I mean, it was released for free, so it's not like you're taking away their revenue by not buying the game for yourself. And it's a visual novel, so it's basically great above point and click, but it's great. That being said, now I'm going to start talking about some spoilers from the end, because it sort of relates to a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog trivia stuff, because so if you really want to experience the game first, I just want you to watch the game or play the game or whatever first, then watch my video, because I'm going to talk about spoilers now. First things, I just wanted to point out how this kind of reminded me a little bit of the Demon Slayer movie Mugen Train, because it turns out the final enemy at the end is the train itself! Dun dun dun! Yeah, it turns out that the train itself is a badnik, and it's trying to deliver Sonic and his friends to Dr. Eggman's base so that they can capture them and get his reward. So that being said, enough anime references. There's actually some legitimate Sonic the Hedgehog universe lore that this is interesting about. First of all, Dr. Eggman exposits how he was kind of annoyed at a certain lack of infrastructure, so he actually made trains that for the city. He repurposed some of his cargo trains to carry passengers. So this is one of those instances where we see that Dr. Eggman actually runs legitimate businesses. Dr. Eggman is a lot more of a Lex Luthor-ish character than you think about. And I'm not talking about Silver Age Lex Luthor, where he's always a mad scientist. I'm talking modern Lex Luthor. I guess modern Lex Luthor is a politician. I'm talking about the Lex Luthor who's a businessman, the guy who runs legitimate businesses and is a billionaire because he made actual money, and he just dabbles in using his vast fortune to conquer the world and kill people and all that crap. Because this is Dr. Eggman running a public transportation service to generate a legitimate revenue stream. And this is kind of the thing, a lot of people wondering, where does Eggman get the material he needs to make the egg fleets or the death eggs or all of his crazy theme park bases? Where does he get the funding to do this? And I guess the secret's kind of being revealed here. I mean, this isn't the first time. In Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance, you had the the guard robos, the ones that look like Gamma. Like, he was legitimately licensing those things out to companies as security forces. And in Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, it turns out that Dr. Eggman had secretly been running Mediotech, another robotics company. So, like, whether these are shell corporations that he's secretly running from behind the scenes, or if he legitimately just is a businessman, like, we see that Dr. Eggman is actually running companies that generates a large amount of revenue, and he probably uses that revenue to fund his take over the world schemes. Also, I think he might supplement a little bit of it by being a high roller, you know, his love of casinos and all that. But yeah, like, that's kind of cool that we see, like Dr. Eggman legitimately, like, running companies to make money. Like it gives you just a little peek behind the scenes. But also, there's another thing. The conductor in this story, the conductor who runs the train, he said that he'd been running this train for 32 years and is going to be enjoying his retirement. There's nothing in the novel that says that they changed the trains. So, has the train existed in this form for over 3 decades? Does this mean that Dr. Robotnik, Dr. Eggman, has been making robots and technology and stuff for decades? Like, has he just been, like, doing this thing for decades? Like, this could mean that Dr. Robotnik's career has lasted more than twice as long as Sonic has been alive. Has he been trying to conquer the world this entire time? Could it be that there was one point in the past where Dr. Eggman was a perfectly legitimate roboticist who ran companies and probably became a huge tech billionaire, and only within the past couple of years in subjective time has decided that he didn't like the state of the world and he's trying to conquer the world? Is he like some kind of is he... I was gonna say that he's like an Elon Musk character, but, you know, like, that's kind of what Lex Luthor is. Like, the idea of the evil businessman. Like, I've already basically financially conquered the world, but I want to actually conquer it. I want to rule it myself. So, like that's a very interesting little bit of lore, isn't it? Like, the fact that Dr. Eggman is it makes perfect sense. Dr. Eggman is an older man. He's a doctor. I mean, he could be anywhere from his late 50s to early 60s. This is, like, speculations on his age are based solely on the fact that his grandfather died 50 years ago, and he has memories of him and Maria, so he must have at least been, you know, at a minimum age of, like, 3 or 4 years old if he has any memories of them. So, like, that puts a minimum cap on his age in his mid-50s. But, yeah, like, it's kind of interesting that Dr. Eggman has been operating for decades. Like, I just want to know, has he been trying to conquer the world this whole time? Or has he kind of been, like, secretly pulling the strings of governments behind the shadows with his apparently huge fortune and all his robots, and only recently took the veil down where Sonic and other heroes stand up to fight up against him? Like, has he decided, like, I actually want to run an empire. I don't want to rule the world from the shadows. I want to rule the world from a shining throne. I mean, he could be just egotistical enough to do that. Or maybe it's like the Sonic the Comic origin. He actually was a kind doctor before he was holding a hard-boiled egg in a lab when all the evil energy from the Chaos Emeralds got into his body and turned him into an evil mad scientist. That could be the thing, too. But that is so great. Oh, and also, at the very end, when they show, like, Dr. Eggman gets the final coda, they have him in his lab with Metal Sonic and Sage. Like, yay, Sage is there! Confirmation, Sage survived the end of Sonic Frontiers, and she lives happily with her daddy now. I don't care what you say, that makes me feel happy. I don't care how you contrive it. Oh, although I will say that there's a perfectly legitimate understanding of how Sage could have been saved. Like, at the end of Sonic Frontiers, Sage transfers herself into the final Titan, and then sacrifices herself to destroy the End. But then they show Dr. Eggman frantically typing in a computer, and he recovers her program. I mean, this is very obvious. Like anyone who knows the basics of computers would know that there's no such thing as a move command. A program doesn't move from one place to another. A move command is actually a copy command followed by a delete command. So what Sage would have done was copy her program from the island's computers into the Titan, and then her original version would have been deleted after the copy was finished. That's how a move command is executed. And the second thing we know about computers is that when deleting something doesn't completely erase it. All it does is tell the computer system to not worry about that portion of the disk so that it can eventually be overwritten by new information. But it still lives on that disk until that's done. So that means the entirety of Sage's program was still in the systems of the island, and what Dr. Eggman was probably doing was doing a recovery feature to bring Sage's data back into prominence, like to undo the delete command so that she could be back. So, and like the only thing that she would lose is the time that she was actually in space piloting the mech. So, you know, like you have Sage back, and the only thing that she doesn't know is the last 5 minutes of her own life. So, you know, just as good. But yeah, I just wanted to throw out what I had to say, because like you know, a brand new Sonic the Hedgehog visual novel just came out, and I have something to say about it. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching this little rambling video that I just kind of threw together, and thank you all, and I will catch you all next time.